welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline. This is our live TV show every Tuesday night. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. We got Chip the Prophet Hayner. I figured I'd mix it up and introduce us all early.
Oh, yeah, I'm Chip.
If you haven't watched the show, Chip. Smoking Jim is next. We all raise our hands. Al Levine, the talking machine. Zach Brenner. Look at, he's sporting the Pittsburgh Sportsline on the right sleeve, and I'm sure there's BC right over his heart. Thanks, Zach.
Always a pleasure.
We always talk sports, and we're going to do that in a couple minutes, but I want to thank our pizza sponsor, Olive Oil's Pizzeria. We just had their sausage pizza.
That's good.
Ryan feeds the whole crew here. We got Chris, we got Devin. John the Tiger Kiger cannot eat pizza for health reasons. And his mother was walking by wearing a Batman shirt. So I said, Mary, would you please come in and have a piece of pizza? She goes, I'm walking. I said, well, if you're going to walk, you'll burn off those calories plus a few ounces more. So she goes, I'll try a piece of pizza. So she's a happy walker. Thanks for coming in. Our fans are coming in to talk to us. So thank you very much. Speaking of fans, we now have 4,663 likes, Jim J. We just gained another 4 likes over from yesterday. That's a new record. Thanks everybody for all the likes. You know the rule. If you like us first, we will like your page within reason. I'm not going to bring up Smoking Jim because he had an incident there. We'll leave that alone. And we're watched on Verizon 32 everywhere, from Nemacolin all the way to Cranberry, Wexford, city of Pittsburgh, and most areas in Pittsburgh. If you're not seeing us and you're telling somebody about it and they can't see it, call and complain to Verizon, okay, because they said everywhere. Comcast 7 only in Bethel Park, and you've been watching us for years there. We've now been here. We're approaching our 200th show on Tuesday night in about another month. Wow. So, yeah, we're in the 190s, so quite an accomplishment for a live show. I mean, to have you guys with me, I appreciate it. Thanks for all the help.
Since the 3rd episode I've been here.
Yeah. Smoking Jim's the only last survivor on this dictatorship, so he's still hanging in there. The young kid at the end, he started with that streak at Sips that'll never be broken. A world record at 33 visits and being on air, too. I don't know if I'm getting a control room thing here, but I don't know what Devin Shea's saying. 4664. We went up by one more. Thank you. Somebody watching. Chief, I know you already liked it, but you put your name back out. Maybe it just clicked now. So, who knows? Chief, enjoy your dinner. Thanks for all your support and liking our stuff, especially that trivia time here for Chip, and that'll be coming up shortly. Now, we're going to start with what's on your mind, and we're going to do that right now. Zach Brenner, what's on your mind?
Well, folks, I think this evening I'll start by congratulating Smoking Jim's favorite baseball team on getting 4 guys into the All-Star game. I'll let Chip touch more on it. He'll give you more of the facts.
That might be what I was going to say.
And the numbers behind it and who got snubbed. Cervelli could have easily been in there here. But what's really on my mind tonight, folks, is Team USA women's soccer. I was fortunate enough to hear that Al Levine said that he made it through a couple minutes of watching it. 5 minutes?
Yeah.
I watched on 93.
Well, for those of you who watched the rest of the games in the build-up to this final game, you were in for a real treat. This game on Sunday didn't prove to be too much of a test for Team USA. They blew out Japan 5-2. The game was over in the first half. Carly Lloyd had the first 3 goals and a hat trick ever in a Women's World Cup final. And now the Team USA is a 3-time World Cup champion. I hope that can kind of rub off a little bit on the men's team, that you got to play as a unit, you got to play as one, you got to play as a team, selfless. I'm happy for Wallenbach, the way she got to end her soccer career as a champion for Team USA. And I look forward to seeing Team USA women's soccer come to the Riverhound Stadium and upcoming event coming up. I hear the tickets are going fast. So that's and finally, I was disappointed to hear that A-Rod was snubbed off of the All-Star team, Smoking Jim Frazier. Even though he did have numbers that substantiate that he could easily be
sorry to interrupt you.
Easily be put in there, but he got snubbed. He will not be playing in the All-Star game.
No, it's not. I'll explain to you how it's in.
And shout out to the huge fan of Pittsburgh Sportsline, the GM for the Pittsburgh Penguins, Rutherford. I heard he listens to us all the time, and he decided to have a little gumption and pull the trigger on a big deal that brings Phil Kessel over from the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Has that been verified by 3 sources?
I don't know.
I
I didn't go to journalist class at Cal U, so I could plead immunity. I don't know. Smoking Jim didn't show up. He had somebody show up in his place.
Chips, we always have a question here that they're saying stuff that's not true on the show, so I want verification.
I'll clear up a number of things.
Good.
Once we get rolling here.
We'll have the clarification time.
Sure enough.
All right, just checking.
And the last thing that's on my mind tonight, Smoking Jim Frazier, is Floyd Mayweather has been stripped of his WBO belt that he won when he fought Pacquiao for failing to pay $200,000 in the sanctioning belt fee. So Floyd Mayweather has been stripped of his belt that he won in the fight against Pacquiao. So rumor has it that belt now goes to Timothy Bradley, who just won a fight about 2 weeks ago. So Bradley's the champ. Floyd's out. Floyd would have had to pay $200,000, but he's still, and good news, he's still the WBC and WBA champion. So that's what's on my mind tonight, folks.
Thanks.
God bless America.
I think the only sport he didn't hit was curling.
You know what? It's too warm. It's too warm. They do that outside.
I saved a couple things.
What's that?
I got more for Z-Time. I saved a couple
P.
things.
Diddy and kettlebells.
That'll be another story. Smoking
Florida
Jim
State.
Frazier,
QB.
what's on your mind?
Hey, thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
It's a new one.
you got to see
Oh.
Levine. Oh, drop
The
the
first
green.
one of the year.
Oh, it's gone.
It's gone.
Here, I'll try another one. You get a second chance. You said everybody deserves a second chance.
That was good.
no.
Just hand it to
Quarterback
me.
Option days.
Thank
No
you,
pitches
thank you.
Back
You
there.
dropped it.
But what's on my mind, and I'll be real quick, is
Why?
I tell you what, as an NFL scout, every once in a while, I want to give you guys a spotlight player that maybe nobody's ever heard of outside of maybe his household, maybe his mom and dad and sisters and brothers. But I tell you what, here's a guy that's I'm making a prediction on that I've never seen play in a regular game. I actually seen him play 10 plays in a practice, and I'm on record now calling this guy the greatest quarterback that I've ever seen. And I think he's going to be the greatest college quarterback. I think he's going to be a Hall of Fame NFL quarterback. And this is all based on 10 plays. And I tell you what, this guy is 6'3", 230 pounds. He has an NBA-like vertical jump, and he's white. And he has a 4.3 40 speed.
He'll never be written up in the Courier.
And and he's a combination to me between Steve Young and Joe Montana, and I think he'll lead Baylor University to a national championship, maybe as early as this particular year. That's how great he is. He's a quarterback for Baylor named Russell, and so keep that name in mind.
Is that his first name or last name?
It could go either way.
Wait a second.
But keep
You telling me that you just did a spotlight profile on a kid out of Baylor that we're never going to get to see or watch?
Well, I tell you what, Baylor might win the national championship
I thought
because of him
Pittsburgh, I
this
thought
year.
the Pitt Panthers were winning the national
Well, that's
championship.
what a lot of people thought I said. But
You have to go back on the tape.
yeah,
I can't wait till we have the
and that's
capabilities
what's on my mind.
to rewind
Thanks,
and play
Smoking
back.
Jim. Zach, if you ever watch the show, then you can see what he does say and doesn't. He's very slippery. Chip the Prophet Hayner, what's on your mind?
Thank you, Alan. And good evening, everybody. And just to clear something up, that my young friend
This is
Zach,
clarification time.
my friend Zach mentioned about Alex Rodriguez being snubbed for the All-Star game. Nothing could be further from the truth, and I'll explain to you real briefly how this is not the case. In the All-Star game, the fans elect the starting lineup. The players select the backups, and the manager picks a few wild card players. So A-Rod did not get the popular vote. He was not voted in by his peers, and the manager of the American League team didn't think that he was deserving. So that's not a snub. So now, you want to know what's on my mind?
Yes.
Something else that my young friend spoke about, and this has to do with Jim Rutherford and the Pittsburgh Penguins. And yes, the Pittsburgh Penguins made a big move last week. And I am not so sure that they didn't make a big mistake last week, because what they did was they took a team that was in bad salary cap position to start with, because we've got 4 players that we're paying far too much money for. We brought in traded 5 people for another player with a huge contract. So now the Pittsburgh Penguins have 5 players that command 60% of their salary cap for the season. Now, this does present a problem, because the Penguins lost their best defenseman over the winter. Paul Martin signed with San Jose Sharks. So now we've got a bunch of young, untested, unproven defensemen. Chris Letang is coming back. But, the thing that scares me about Chris Letang, he could be 1 concussion away from the end of his career. He's very prone to them. He's had 4 of them since 2012. You've got Oli Mata, who has yet to make it through an entire season, and he's had 2 shoulder surgeries within the last year. I don't know if he's going to withstand the rigors. So, we've got Rob Scuderi, who stunk last year, and you've got Ben Lovejoy, who was not the greatest acquisition that we had last year. So now we've got a defense that's completely depleted, and guess what? We don't have anybody in the farm system anymore. Well, maybe we could draft somebody. We can't do that either, because we don't have any draft picks. Besides that, we don't have any money to sign anybody. I'm really skeptical about whether or not this move is going to pan out. I feel it's a move made by the Penguins to keep the value of the team high, so that that they can sell it, because Mario and
Billionaire Burkle.
Yeah, Billionaire Burkle, they're going to sell while the price is high, and I do believe that the value of this franchise will be far less in 2 years than it is right now. But that's what's on my mind.
Thanks.
Or they could do
the clarification.
Or they could do like the owner of the Clippers did, and they could sell it for $2 billion.
Not in hockey. Not in hockey. Hockey is more of a niche sport. It's a regional kind of a thing.
Or they could just sell parts.
The NBA, at least, it's got worldwide popularity.
You can't deny Pittsburgh as a top hockey market, though. They love their hockey in this city.
I love it. Off the track, John the Tiger, if you could do a close-up again, call this number, Olive Oil's Pizzeria. I just ordered a small pizza for $1.99. Not because I'm special or the talking machine, even though they said you should order one. They're running a special Tuesday and Wednesday all day. They're selling hundreds of these pizzas. It's a regular small pizza for $1.99. Call up 412-831-1900. Tell them the talking machine said you're going to order at least 5. Good price. Smoking Jim might just stop if I can tell him how to get there. Maybe John can show him on the way home.
Where's it close to?
It's right on 88. John will tell you. Hillcrest Shopping Center. Stop in, all right? Don't go to the dollar store, buddy. Now what's on my mind? Let's see. You mentioned China. All right, there was a race. I was thinking about watching a race. Sunday night, I thought it was. And then I turned it on, and there was like a delay. So I go, maybe it'll start up again. I wake up in the morning because Zach Brenner blew out Facebook. Dale Earnhardt Jr. won his race. Number 88 was plastered everywhere. So congratulations. I slept like a baby, not knowing who won the race. And I am a fan, well, once in a while. But that's what's on my mind.
If I could interject real quick, briefly.
I did that just for you because I want you to put it on Z time.
Okay, never mind. Yeah.
I thought I could shut him out. Well, we have our favorite segments, or my favorite segments, no matter what these guys say. The first one is Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Hey, thanks, Al Levine. The talking machine do got a a bit of an announcement to make is most people know by now that I am a sports writer, and this is actually my first year that I've qualified to vote for the Heisman, and so I'll be voting this year for the Heisman Trophy. But
Russell.
actually, since I'm already know that I'll be busy in December, I already mailed in my Heisman vote for Seth Russell of Baylor. So
I'm glad you remember his name.
I got the first Heisman vote in.
I'm glad you don't let the facts get in the way of any.
Never.
From my fiction and fact, from smoking Jim's on and we go back a few years. AAU basketball is really starting to take off. It's really a big sport, and it's kind of an expensive sport if you don't get scholarshiped in or if you're not a superstar player. Here locally, probably the greatest AAU team of all time was the Pittsburgh Jots. I don't know if they're still around, but back in the day, they made a lot of noise and they traveled all over the country. And here's some of the members that was on that particular team. Terrell Pryor, maybe the greatest athlete to ever come out of southwestern Pennsylvania, now part of the Cleveland Browns receiving corps. DeJuan Blair, great player at Pitt, NBA, still in the NBA, right, Lil Z?
Wizards.
Please don't scare the fans with your left hand.
He's choking on that pizza there. It's so
no,
good.
look, all the bruises on that hand, brother. Kennedy, that played on that Shinley State Championship team, went to St. John's, is playing overseas. Greg Blair, linebacker for the Cleveland Browns. Herb Pope, who got shot 7 times in high school and still was able to play Division I college basketball. And a name that most people don't realize was a great basketball player, Cameron Hayward.
No.
He's the Ironhead Hayward's son. Ironhead married a girl from Monroeville. He grew up in Monroeville. We tried to get him to stay, but they moved to Atlanta. But he used to come visit family every summer in Monroeville and learn his football there at the Greater Gateway High School. And he would play in the evenings for the Jots. So he was one of the great guys, Cameron Hayward, for the Jots. And you guys all seen him play basketball.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, we have.
Yes, we have against the Bethel Park Police.
And that's your fiction and facts from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Sounded like a little more facts this time.
Go Seth Russell!
I'm glad he remembered who he was.
Oh, man.
Chip, let's hear some of Chip's trivia time.
Some of Chip's trivia time. Okay, we'll do this fast and furious. I got a few things lined up here. After having to take a hiatus due to some illness last week,
Right.
I didn't really feel the compelling need to get my colleagues sick last
You
week.
have the bird flu? Oh, you'll have that this weekend.
No. Yeah, the birds are going to fly right out of PNC Park is what they're going to do, Jim. Nice
that was
one.
the first shot.
Nice one. Nice one. Okay, but we're going to start back with some trivia from some of these things that I found interesting over baseball's history. On June the 26th, 1976, Toby Harrah, shortstop, played the entire doubleheader for the Texas Rangers, which is not very unusual. They don't play very many doubleheaders anymore. But the interesting thing about this, he played the entire 18 innings without handling a batted ball from the Chicago White Sox during the course of the game.
Wow, I never heard of that.
Didn't get his uniform dirty, but he got his paycheck. Cy Young, in 1908, June 30th, pitched his third no-hitter. Cy Young, who the award is named after, 512 victories, never be matched. Sandy Koufax, on June 30th, 1962, the Los Angeles Dodgers struck out 13 New York Mets en route to the first of his 4 career no-hitters. And he held the record of 4 for quite some time until a certain Nolan Ryan passed him up, and Nolan, I believe, finished his career with 7.
Yeah, lucky 7.
Willie Mccovey, who was one of the greatest 1-2 combinations, well, actually 3-4 combinations in the batting order in baseball history. He was the man that batted after Willie Mays for the San Francisco Giants for a lot of years, and this was after Willie had already retired. Willie Mccovey became the 12th player in Major League history to hit 500 home runs.
Wow.
June 30th, 1995, Eddie Murray of the Cleveland Indians became the second switch hitter and the 20th player in baseball history to collect 3,000 hits. The first switch hitter, of course, was Pete Rose.
Oh,
Mickey
really?
never got 3,000 hits. Do you
that's
realize
right.
that the first Yankees batter to get 3,000 hits was Derek Jeter?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Overrated.
Now, I also want to
Hater.
make notice of one of the greatest years in baseball history. The year was 1941. Two significant things happened in 1941, two records which I don't think will ever be broken. Ted Williams was the last player to bat 400 for a season. And Joe DiMaggio, on July the 1st, singled off of Boston's Jack Wilson in the fourth inning, tying Wee Willie Keeler's hitting streak of 44 games en route to the 56-game hitting streak that will never be equaled. Then on July 2nd, he went ahead and extended his streak to 45 games.
The new record.
Here's an interesting fact. I've always been critical of pitch counts and the way that that pitching a complete game
Today.
in baseball is a lost art. Here's a good one. Carl Hubble of the New York Giants beat the St. Louis Cardinals 1-0 in an 18-inning game. That's some serious pitching. July 3rd, 1912, Rube Marquardt of the New York Giants raised his season record to 19-0. Pitched, basically won every game he pitched up to that break of the season.
Yeah.
July the 3rd, 1947, we do have to pay tribute to breaking the color barrier in baseball. Jackie Robinson was the person that was responsible for breaking the color barrier in the senior circuit, which is the National League. But in the junior circuit, the Cleveland Indians purchased Larry Doby from the Newark Eagles of the Negro National League, making him the first black player in the American League. And then on July 5th, Larry Doby became the first black player to play in the American League. Wow. He struck out as a pinch hitter in a losing effort. July 6, 1933, the very first All-Star game was played. It was played in Comiskey Park in the Windy City of Chicago. And Comiskey Park was also the home of the Chicago, quote-unquote, Black Sox of the 1919 throw in the World Series.
Who hit the first home run? You got that one? In the All-Star game?
That would be Babe Ruth.
Thank you.
A two-run dinger on John McGraw's team. Also, on July 6, 1957, right now we don't talk tennis here because none of us pretty much care, but the color barrier was broken at the All England Tennis Club by Althea Gibson, became the first black woman to win a title at the All England Tennis Club by beating Darlene Hard. So, that barrier was broken, which enabled quite a number of amazing athletes to be able to perform on a worldwide stage. But that's what I've got for trivia this week. We do have quite a bit more to talk about when we get into some Bucko talk in a little bit.
Thanks, Chip.
Great job, Chip.
Appreciate it.
Good stuff.
All right, no more suspense with Z time.
Well, I'm gonna change the vibe and the mood. I'm gonna take it back to February 18, 2001. I don't know how many of you gentlemen ever watched your idol die in front of your eyes live on TV in the last turn of the last lap of the Great American Race in 2001. I still get goosebumps just thinking about it, and it was something to go back in 2013 for the first time and be in turn 4 and sit in turn 4 where Dale Earnhardt was taken. But fast forward all the way to Sunday evening and into Monday morning. The Coca-Cola 400 was ran, the second race in Daytona. It's a July 4th usually, but the track is under construction in the grandstands to add more seating, Smoking Jim, to pack more people in. But the race was under delay. It didn't get underway, Smoking Jim, until 11:30 at night, and it ran until about 2:30 in the morning. Well, for those of you who got up at 2:30 in the morning, you were in for some real antics. The number 3 car, once again, which is back for its second season since Dale Earnhardt died in 2001, driven by Austin Dillon, went airborne. The netting, the catch fencing kept the car in the racetrack. I mean, it was quite the end of a race, to say the least. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Won the race, and then, like I said, as soon as he crossed the finish line, all heck broke loose behind them. But what I'm trying to say is that on this particular evening, Austin Dillon got out of that number 3 car and walked away with some bruises. So the sport has probably never been safer in the history of it. The advances that they've made with the safer barrier technology to impact some of the violent hits that these guys are taking, going over 200 miles an hour at these super speedways. It was quite something to watch live and to see the engine rolling and on fire, and But I'll tell you this: the opposite teams ran down. You're not supposed to, but they ran down pit lane and ran to the number 3 to make sure that Austin was okay. And I thought that was quite the display of sportsmanship to make sure that they're competitors and they go tooth and nail on the racetrack. But when one of them's in trouble, man, boy, did they all start running. So I want to congratulate Dale Jr. But once again, I just want to take time to remember his father, who, like I said, died pretty much before my very eyes. But Junior's having a heck of a season. I was happy that he won when I went down, and he finished 3rd this year when I went down again. So look for the number 88 to have a strong run in the chase.
Thanks, Zach. One question I have, with all the airbags and things like that, why don't they have airbags in those cars?
Well, for one, there's occasionally you might get bumped, there might be a bump or something like that, and then that kind of hit, then the airbags will constantly be deploying, really.
Well, Dale Earnhardt's passing and forced NASCAR to institute using the Hans system, which is what they used to. Because what happened with Dale Earnhardt, and I remember watching the accident, the car turned sideways and went head on into the wall. And what happened was the impact, and it snapped his neck, and that's how he died. So they've made the vehicle safer, and then putting any more safety stuff in they strip these cars down bare because they're doing it for speed.
Sure.
They're trying to keep as little weight on these cars as possible because they've adjusted the horsepower of the engine, so everybody's running at the same thing. They're trying whatever they can to squeeze every ounce of speed that they can out of these vehicles.
Thanks. Pretty informative there.
What's the Hans?
It's a system.
Keeps your neck. It keeps your It keeps your neck mobilized to the seat so that you can't it can't be snapped or jarred. That you can't to the point where it breaks your neck. But the point of this also is though that Dale Earnhardt was such a legend and such a trendsetter that he was, his son, the way that the race was playing out in the last turn of the last lap, he was unbuckled, Smoking Jim Frazier. So it didn't matter if he had the horns on or not. He was already unbuckling himself. He didn't anticipate getting taken and going straight into the wall at 200 miles an hour. He was ready to celebrate. His 2 of the cars that he owned were 1, 2, and he was in 3. He was blocking to make sure that the finish was, that was going to be the finish. And like I said, that's, tragedy struck and, a legend was lost very quickly,
Yeah, and that's the one thing about, the sport. Like, in football players, we talk about the tragic ending in their career by blowing out their knee. But in any given race, on any given day, you could die. And people have done it. They're making it safer. And, thank the Lord that none of the people that were in the stands were damaged by the debris. Because there were a handful of people that were injured. Fortunately, nobody seriously.
And like I said, the technology and the fence and everything that came into play, did its job, and on to the next race.
Well, I'm going to delay my on location for 1 second. I met the gentleman that runs. I don't know if you can pull this up.
I'll be there.
The Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix. I met him at one of Jessica Lee's performances up at the Rivers Club, and it starts on the 10th through the 16th. Myron Cope helped to found this, and I wanted to get a close-up look at all the sponsors that support this.
Wow.
They donate 100% to the Autism Society of Pittsburgh and Allegheny Valley School, and they've been doing it for years, 30-some years I think it is now. So
it's a great event, and I tell you what, for anybody that's never been, go out to Shenley and watch those old cars rip through that track, man.
I was out there when they first started it, the first few years. Then I went back a couple other times, and the way it grew, it's just unbelievable. It was so much fun out there.
The cars race?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Smoking Jim, you got to find out more. There's more outside of Monroeville.
Yeah, they make a nice little
Not
track.
much.
They put hay bales,
Yeah.
Hay bales all around it.
There's
and
not
guys
a
race.
whole lot. All right, on location, I want to thank everybody for coming out to the Royal Place. We're going to be back there in 2 weeks. And matter of fact, I got some boxers already lined up. Champion Tommy Carpensi and his dad, they're going to come out. I'm in talks with a few others to come out there. That'll be at the Royal Place. And believe it or not, you hear all these bad things, you can still get there, and there's hardly any traffic. People are Smoking Jim's been early, and that's 2 times in a row, which that's almost the world's record. So those things happen, and come on out. We had some great guests, and I want to announce for next Monday, Smoking Jim come up with this idea that Pittsburgh Sportsline should have a Hall of Fame. Now, people complain about me being a dictator. He has 1 vote, and we don't even know who he's putting in there in the Hall of Fame. We've had over 450 guests over the last couple years, and Smoking Jim picked out 7 this year. Now, I'm getting a lot of negative feedback on what happened to me. I said it has nothing to do with the talking machine. Please direct everything to Sweeties for Jimmy, Smoking Jim Frazier. I mean, this is legit. You get an award. We only have so many. I forget how many we had last year. Wasn't it like a dozen?
Yes, sir.
So that was the inaugural first class. It was a great show there. We were at Sips, which is no longer in business. So now here's the location, because Smoking Jim forgot to put the location a couple times. Duke's Rib House and Grill. That's 1910 Pittsburgh, PA 15220. Bottom of Green Tree, right next to, here's a promotion for Max and Irma's. Can't miss it, right next to Max and Irma's. Smoking Jim, I'm not going to announce who your Hall of Famers were. I put that on the event page.
Thank you.
Like the page. Come on out, sign up. It should be a great show. And then, because I never know if Smoking Jim's guests are going to come there, we got 6 other guests that'll be great too, Smoking Jim. So they're already booked. And a couple of them have things to do with AAU, and you'll like those guys because you've met them before. If you remember Stephen and Amir Dudley and Nesmith.
Wow.
So
they're coming.
They a month ago, before you even announced you were having the Hall of Fame.
Wow. Well, I announced it a year ago, but
Yeah, but we don't pay attention.
There we go. So what, you've interviewed 450 guests, and there's 516 people in the Hall of Fame.
But it's legit. It's too legit. So
Legit to quit.
Math wasn't.
Exactly.
He's a writer. Math wasn't something he
And
studied.
Chip, now you know why I say we need 3 people to verify whatever he's talking about. Because he did say a year, but he didn't know what the date was the first time he announced it. Then he said it 3 or 4 more times that I know of, that it was July 13th. I said, do you know where we'll even be? He goes, talking machine, I'm not worried about that. I go, well, you should. So now it's coming up. That is next Monday. It's easy to find, free parking, no cover charge. No, you do not have to tip Smoking Jim to get in the Hall of Fame. He can't be bought. Well, that's what I say. All right. Chip's wearing a hat. Get a close-up of this hat.
I like that hat.
That's the hat.
That's the 4th of July edition of the Pittsburgh Pirates
I
uniform.
thought it was Cardinals.
No, it wasn't. Matter of fact, I didn't really like the red hat, but I understand the meaning of the red hat, that's what it's all about.
Yep.
And that meant a lot. And I was at the game. My son come home from the Navy. Drew bought me tickets. Took Casey and I. First time I ever sat in center field.
And I tell you what, that was one heck of a baseball
Well,
game.
here's the little side story, Chip. When Drew got the tickets, he goes, I didn't even look to see who's pitching. I was hoping Cole would pitch. So I told him Locke. And he goes, no. So we go to the game. We saw one of the best pitching duels, Chip will tell you, that I've seen live.
Yes.
And Locke pitched his best game of his career.
Yes, he did.
It was just unreal. I would have liked to, seen him, I don't know.
I don't
I
tell
don't
you
know how
what.
I could have done any more. He was just great.
For a 1-0 baseball game.
Yeah.
The game was interesting, and the flow was good. The game lasted 2 hours and 6 minutes, and Colby Anderson, the starting pitcher for the Cleveland Indians, pitched equally as well.
Oh.
You know, it was a 1-0 game. It was very enjoyable. And, you know, taking Locke out at the end of the 8th inning, it was the right thing to do because, you know, here you've got the best closer in baseball, Mark Melancon.
Yeah.
And you know what? You got a 1-0 lead going into the 9th inning.
And he's an all-star,
You hand him the ball and you say, get me 3 outs. He made us sweat it a little bit. He got 2 outs.
Hold
put
on,
2
we were
runners
sweating
on.
beforehand. That sun was on that stadium all day.
Was it baseball or soccer?
It was only 2 hours and 6 minutes, and they had breaks. And Smoking Jim, they were shooting those hot dogs off like you like.
I like that.
And then they were shooting T-shirts, and they had all kind of promotional things and loud music.
Well,
I was waiting for a home run. I was out on the river right outside of the outfield waiting for a ball to get
Not as quiet as them bats.
Yeah, but you know what? The pitching is stellar.
But that can segue right into our Bucko talk.
That's
Right?
it.
I thought that was the bucket.
Because
We didn't get a chance. We were waiting for the Sandbox boys to interrupt us.
To
They
let-
didn't come through.
to give the mid-season report for the Pittsburgh Pirates, which, just for the record, Jim Frazier wrote them off after they lost the opening game this year.
Hold it, and the Sandbox boy was right with them.
So Sunday marked the actual halfway point of the season.
Right.
81 games have been played. Our record was 47-34. Second best record in baseball. The team
Hold
with
it.
the
Could
best.
you repeat that again? Because they didn't hear it. They didn't make any snide remarks.
47-34. Okay, so basically the Pirates were
On
Second.
pace for the wild
yeah, they were
card.
13 games over 500. They
If
are
they're in any other division, they're winning.
they're winning. They're leading any other division in baseball. They've got the second best record in Major League Baseball. The Pirates have done it with a combination of the best starting pitching staff in baseball. And can I make a point and say it is the best pitching staff in baseball? Not the most expensive, but the best. They are, without a question, they have the best starting 5 right now in baseball. If you look at their ERAs, it speaks volumes. Their middle setup men have been nothing
Lights
nothing
out.
less than stellar. Tony Watson, a great shutdown man in the 8th inning, and Mark Melancon, who again this year was voted into the All-Star, is the best closer in baseball. Doesn't throw the ball 103 miles an hour. All he does is he gets batters out. That's what he gets paid to do. 3 outs in the 9th inning, and it's like it rings up. He's had now 26 saves in a row. He saved 27 out of 28 games so far this year, and I'll take that every day of the week for my closer. The interesting thing about A.J. Burnett was notified last night that he got elected to his very first All-Star game in 17 years in the major leagues. He's won World Series. He's done every accomplishment with the exception of winning the Cy Young Award that a pitcher can have in baseball. Never been on an All-Star team. Bruce Bochy, who arguably is the best manager in baseball, and for Jim's edification, he is the manager of the San Francisco Giants, who've won 3 of the last 5 World Series.
Dynasty.
He was one of Bruce Bochy's wild card picks. He picked him over Johnny Cueto of the Cincinnati Reds, where the All-Star game is being played because of the fact that this is AJ's last season. His ERA is 1.9. He's pitching the best baseball of his career, and he felt he was deserving of a position on the All-Star
I
team.
thought the Mohawk would keep him out.
Thanks, Smoking Jim.
And
What shoes was he wearing?
And speaking of haircuts, because Jim, at the beginning of the year, he predicted that poor Andrew McCutchen would fall off, that he would no longer be an All-Star, 5th All-Star team in his career. Last 5 years, he's made the team. Oh, by the way, did I mention he's starting in center field at the All-Star game? And oh, by the way, Jim, remember his batting average was less than his weight at about 170?
I remember
Well,
that.
now his batting average as of last night was 299.
Yeah, but Smoking Jim told me, so what? It's not 300.
Yeah, it's not 300, but that'll change. It's probably changed already. He's already been up once tonight.
If
Yeah.
he keeps getting hit in the
So,
back.
so
he
to
might
kind
not.
of wrap it up, the biggest surprise of the first half of the baseball season, believe it or not, doesn't come out of the National League. It comes out of the American League, and it comes out of the American League West. The Houston Astros 2 years ago were the doormats of the league.
Yeah.
And they are in first place in the West. They are outplaying the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. They've been the best story of the season as far as the American League is concerned.
How's my Yankees?
Yankees are tied for first place at last I saw.
It's our clock.
And, the Yankees have performed above expectations as well. Some of the teams with the high payrolls that aren't performing well, you can take a look in the Central Division. The Detroit Tigers, they're third place. They're 7 games out.
Wow.
The Pirates after last night were 6 games out.
And they're struggling. They're struggling at 48 and 34 now.
Yeah, and I find it amusing that people are sitting there saying, well, criticizing the team one way or another. But you know what? They're now 48 and 34, by the way, after winning last night.
It. 14 games above 500.
So here's
for the wild card.
Here's what's going on. This weekend, we probably got one of the biggest series of the season down at PNC Park. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, a 4-game set against the St. Louis Cardinals. There's going to be 4 sellouts. I'll be down at the ballpark tomorrow night. I'll be down there Saturday night. I'm really looking forward to watching this. It's the 2 best teams in baseball going head to head. And
if you're a baseball fan, this is what you want to see. So I got to interrupt you with our new baseball fans down there who aren't on the bandwagon. What's your prediction for the Pirates against the Cards? Zach and Smoke and Jim, you can huddle on this. And
1-3.
You're an optimist.
You know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb, Smoke and Jim. I think they're gonna take the series 2-1.
Cards. Oh, it's a 4-game series.
Oh, it's a 4-game.
That's a 4-game series. And actually, you know what? I got to give props to my friend Zach over here because he actually stayed until the end of the game. One day last week, he was at the ball game. I watched him posting, and he stayed until the end. And the Pirates came up just a little bit short in the 9th inning, but he still stayed for the 9th inning.
I'd have stayed too.
Yeah, he just stayed.
It's credibility.
Can I say one thing?
You can say everything you would like.
It's not about the Pirates, but it's still in baseball.
You can't say anything.
And we can get back. But last week I got an assignment too late. I had to turn it down. But I was disappointed. I had a project that I had to work on. I couldn't go.
How was your
inventory? I got the assignment in the afternoon.
Yeah.
But the one and only Monet Davis, is that her name?
Yes.
Pitched here in Pittsburgh and Manchester against the Manchester All-Stars.
How did you miss it with Sean Gibson?
Yeah.
How did you miss your buddy?
Well, they gave it to me, too. I couldn't change my plans. She wouldn't understand. I mean, my project wouldn't understand. But
one of the sweeties for Jimmy.
But, yeah, she came to pitch.
That's baseball related.
Yeah, so I would have loved to have seen her pitch.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, she was an amazing story last year because, the little wig
They say she's even better in basketball.
Oh, she's just an incredible athlete. I mean, she's probably any sport she would apply herself to. I'm sure she'd be the best at it.
Yeah, I think Gino, the coach of Connecticut women's basketball, I think he's in trouble. REM has already offered her a scholarship.
Yeah.
That's not
cheating,
recruiting,
guys.
That's not recruiting if I never heard it.
Nah, that's the cheating.
Maybe Ashley Battles, who's from Manchester, tried to recruit her while she was at the game.
She wouldn't do it.
Well,
she wouldn't.
Wouldn't be too surprised. But you know what? The next 80 games, it's going to be one heck of a ride. Pirates are going to play their hearts out, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But man, it's going to be a great summer.
My prediction: Pirates 3 wins, Cardinals 1.
Wild card.
That's what I was going with too.
It's still going to be a wild card, Smoking
Jim. You know what? Here's what I don't understand. Like it isn't a black mark on your record if you're into football if you make it into the playoffs as a wild card, right? Do you remember the 2 teams that made it to the World Series last year and the World Series champion were wild card teams?
What did you at the beginning of the show call the National League? As opposed to the American League.
I call that the senior circuit.
The senior circuit, and the senior circuit never had the traditionalists. They never had wild cards, so you shouldn't have.
Since
wild
we like
cards.
to revisit stuff, even if we repeat it,
I don't
Tom,
count
and
wild
he
cards.
picks one thing out of it. How many teams did they have when there weren't wild cards, my friend? You still haven't researched it. They've now doubled the size of the league, and that happens. Football did it because you know what they did? They didn't even have a Super Bowl. How could you go against tradition and they have a Super Bowl? They just had the championship game.
Well, it's because the Super Bowl came about because of the merger of the AFL and the NFL. And when they merged, they agreed on similar.
Now,
the
for
same
all
rules.
you fans of Smoking Jim, he did not put his foot in the mouth because when the National League and American League joined, it grew even more.
But
Yeah,
Jim,
but what I'm saying is, in baseball, there's a designated hitter in one league and not in the other league. So how can you?
There's no
but
consistency.
for the first 80 years that they played in competition, they played by the same rules. And the American League's attendance had dropped so far that they tried to do something to satisfy the owners of the American League and increase attendance. So,
You're a businessman.
This is what they did to try to help the health of the American League because it was floundering.
But I hate
the big brothers were looking out for the little
So
brothers.
how's the wild card helping the National League that's already?
Well,
More attendance,
it's helping baseball.
more money.
To answer your question, now what happens? Okay, it used to be an American League champion and a National League champion, and those two teams would play for the World Series. Now you've got three divisions, okay, and then you've got two teams that can make the wild card. So now what you've done is you've enabled 5 or 6 other cities to have a shot at making the playoffs, to increasing interest, increasing.
You know what would help the baseball more than a wild card?
I can't wait for
when
this.
Andrew McCutchen gets hit by a pitch to go after the pitcher just once. That would help baseball. That would help baseball.
That would be the most foolish thing that they could possibly do.
Why? Because he get beat up?
I hate
Why
to.
would you?
We've gone.
That would be like Ben Roethlisberger taking off his helmet and swinging at a defensive lineman that's got his helmet on. Yes, it would. Why? Well, he sacks Ben Roethlisberger
They keep hitting
and
the
he
kid
stays.
with the pitch.
Yeah.
You got to retaliate or you're going to keep getting hit.
apparently-
Or Cuts
In the
can't
middle of your
fight.
back.
Cuts don't got no hands.
Here's what the problem
He
is.
looked crazier with the long hair.
Here's what the
He was
problem
more
is
intimidating.
and why he keeps
They
getting
hit him more than.
As soon as he gets better at hitting the inside pitch, they will stop pitching him inside. That's how you stop them from doing that. Rushing the mound is not the answer. You don't take your marquee player and have him rush the mound and risk a career-ending injury, banishment from baseball, or an extended suspension.
If you want to get out of the wild card round, you got to show some heart, and your leader got to show that he's willing to fight. That's hard.
Well,
How do you pick
we're
up
not-
games on a team that's winning more than you?
There's no way you guys should even argue with this guy about this.
This is not hockey.
This is
man.
nonsense.
This is not hockey.
Switching off of baseball.
But I like
We've
what-
touched
I like his
enough.
style.
We touched enough on baseball.
Oh,
But much
that
to the
wasn't
chagrin of
baseball.
Chip. Much to the chagrin of Chip. He's not talking about this though, but Tiger Woods is back, folks. Tiger Woods found his game. He found a new wife, a woman to cheat on, and he's back, baby. He's back. He was down in West Virginia lighting it up, and he's ready.
Disclaimer.
Rory McIlroy blew out his ankle playing soccer, Levine. The Open is wide open in Britain, and it's Tiger Woods for the taking.
That's why I'm against soccer. I don't think you should mix sports like
I
that.
Tiger's back.
I said this 4 years ago. I will say this again. Tiger Woods will never win another major golf tournament in the PGA as long as he golfs.
Well, I'm just glad he's off of steroids. It does take a while to get it out of your system and to heal up, and he has to go through some
Hey,
natural
wait a minute.
ingredients to fix him up.
And wait
He's
a minute.
smaller.
Wait a minute. Tiger Woods is back, okay? And a guy named Lee won the tournament last week, and he won it in a 3-man playoff, and not one of the people that was involved in the playoff was named Tiger Woods. As a matter of fact, Tiger Woods ended up in 12th or 13th place.
You had to get
But
him
the
started.
He
The
made
positive was
$37,000 for
the
4 days of
positive
work.
thing was that he was shooting 3 under, 4 under, 3 under. He was finding his game, Smoking Jim. He found it down there in the woods of West Virginia.
Well, my thing was, since he changed everything up, I felt that he could win another tournament somewhere, somehow. Because when you go from the size shirt, like people go, what are you talking about? That red shirt was massive that he wore at the end of every tournament. Did you see the arms on him and the shoulders? Now look at him. He's like a human being. So now he's back. And speaking of back, he has a bad back. He has many other issues there because you break down. Now, if they can build him up like other people have done holistically, like Smoking Jim's watching our show, Healthier, Happier You, cut down on your baking soda, you can heal yourself, but it takes time.
Hey, can I ask a question? Was there a certain golfer that we're talking about that didn't make the cut at the U.S. Open?
Oh, What a shot.
I'm just saying.
Hey,
And
you know
that's
what?
our-
Stella had to go on vacation to get her groove back, smoking Jim. So you know what? Tiger Woods is back.
What sport is that?
Tiger Woods is back.
Stella who did she play for?
You got to read the new Pittsburgh Courier to know where Stella lost and found her groove.
Hold it. Wait a second. That's why you can't let facts, Chip. Don't ever let facts get in the way of their fiction there.
So you know, I started out the show with my comments about the Pittsburgh Penguins, and what are your thoughts about the big move they made? And do you you know, does anybody share my pessimism as to the
I'm not as
validity of the trade?
pessimistic as you are for the simple fact
Neither
we've
am
been
I.
setting record. Yeah, but I'm trying to back it up on health facts. That we had so many injuries, Chip, and you know it's been traditional here. My thinking is everybody can't get hurt like they were. And some of the issues on the cap are going to be settled. Scuderi will be gone. You know, maybe they'll buy out these contracts too. Other sports do it because you do need some of the youth. You need the defense. We had plenty of defensemen. Now we can't find them.
Right.
So I'm worried. I'm apprehensive. But that 82-game season equals a lot of the things that happen. If we don't have the injuries and we have, and it's a big if. Like Smoking Jim
That
says,
is a
that
big if, you know, and that's what has me concerned because, you know, we don't have any depth. You know, we basically, you know, and
We've sold our future.
And then here's the next thing you got to think about. You know, Brendan Sutter is our third line center. He's been a pretty good third line center. He could probably be a second line center on most NHL teams. Well, this is his contract year. Okay, so we don't have him anymore after this year.
He'll be gone.
At what point do we trade him, and what can we get for him? And we're going to be backed up against the salary cap the same way Jim Rutherford mismanaged the salary cap through the end of the season last year.
It wasn't all Jim Rutherford's fault, though. Shearer left him with a heap of problems to come into.
It's true.
It was started with Shearer. It's not just Rutherford's fault.
Hey, you know what? He was the man in charge. He was the man making the decisions. He looked at the ledger. He's the one that made a mistake. You can't blame this on Ray Shearer. Ray Shearer's long gone. He's history. You know, the man in charge is the man responsible. You don't blame somebody else. You take responsibility.
It's not all Rutherford's fault.
Hey, that's why we all have opinions, and some of it's based on facts here. And I'm hopeful this season with the Penguins, like I stated before. They have the nucleus to be winners.
But they're not going to be able to complain anymore, Crosby or Malkin, about not having somebody that, you know, when they get it to them, he's a finisher. Phil Kessel is going to bury that puck if he gets it.
And Zach, the other thing on the power play, I think he'll be a large asset there on the power play. You know, they get him in the right position there. You got Malkin in the back, and you know, whoever you have as a defenseman there, maybe Letang.
He's American-born too, Smoking Jim, and he's done awesome for
Oh,
the
the
US.
Pirates
I
are
want
in a
more
rain
Russians.
delay.
I want more Russians.
What happened? What's up?
Pirates are in a rain delay.
I mean, it's raining outside.
Oh yeah, bad.
Oh,
The
man.
sun's always shining on us here in the studio.
I know, it's so bright in here. Smoking Jim, I think that
Look at Al's tan.
that tan I got in center field,
Spray tan.
there's no spray tan. Look, it's deep. You can scrape that off. That was from being at the ball yard.
I'll pass.
Okay. Thanks, Chip. Oh, that is. You got a nice close up there. Look at that.
Wow,
Looking
the
good.
bronze
Looking
bomber,
good.
the bronze bomber.
You know what? We must be winding down. I can tell when we're starting to talk about tanning.
Well, you know, well,
It's 5 minutes to go.
How many weeks we got until we go to Latrobe?
Oh, I can't wait.
You know,
19 days.
19 days. We go to Latrobe, and there's going to be a Hall of Fame induction here. Somebody's getting their ring, getting their
Number
bust.
36.
Yeah, number 36. And we get to play the Minnesota Vikings in the
Yep.
Hall of Fame game.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
we get 5 preseason games this year. I think we're going to need all 5 of them to figure out what's going on with the defense. But what's your outlook on
Scout.
the Steeler team as we go into training camp?
Well, we're going to need that extra game because Brady's going to be on point first game of the
Oh,
season.
let me interrupt you.
against
What's
New
going on
England.
since you got Goodell's ear?
I think Goodell is going to throw out the suspension
Why?
on Tom Brady.
Can you tell me why?
You know what, and I beg to differ with you, and I think the reason why that's not going to happen is because the rest of the NFL has got their eyes on this, and I think there's going to be a lot of really unhappy owners who happen to be the people that pay Roger Goodell if some kind of punishment. And it's not about whether the balls were deflated or whether they weren't deflated. The issue that I feel that he should be suspended for is the way that he refused to cooperate in the investigation, and he made a complete mockery out of the whole thing. Well, and for that, I feel that he needs to be suspended. But,
good point, but you're wrong. See, all the eyes on the NFL was still on Roger Goodell when he burnt the tapes for Spygate. But here's the reason why, and this is the exact reason why Roger Goodell is going to get out of it. He hired Troy Vincent, a black man, to be his assistant. And Troy Vincent actually did all the investigating. He actually suggested the 4-game suspension. So Roger Goodell was away from it, supposedly. And Roger Goodell, Troy Vincent's black man, is a perfect guy to throw under the bus when he meets with Brady and say, listen, when I looked at the information, this is what I see, and we're going to throw this out. Brady plays in the first game of the season. And two, don't forget, Brady is backed up by some pretty significant legal representation.
And I think that's
what got him into trouble.
That's neither here nor there because, he's got a collective bargaining agreement that he has to abide by the rules of, regardless of how many attorneys that he has.
Let's see who's right between you and I.
We'll find out. We'll find out eventually.
Smoking Jim.
Most people agree with you, though, Chip.
Smoking Jim, I've argued against your point from the moment you tried to let it out. You say some outrageous things.
Black man under the bus.
I respect his. I respect his point of view.
Forget color.
I don't agree with it,
Forget color.
It's what they did, and here's the thing: this would have never become Deflategate or any other kind of thing if when his first came out, Tom Brady said, "You know what? I didn't. This is the way I've always had them. I didn't realize that we were breaking some kind of rule. It would have been over and done with." But no, what they did was they made a laughingstock out of the NFL and out of the investigation into it. And for that, there's got to be...
Listen, when I carry my cordless drill and my saws all day long, I know how much that weighs. If you took any weight out of it or made it lighter or made it feel better, I would know immediately. When you're not telling me that a quarterback that's been throwing the ball, Smoking Jim, for 15 plus years doesn't know when that ball is underinflated, you bet your bottom dollar he knows.
And he'll be Smoking Jim's on the run.
And he'll be throwing that ball in the first game of the season. Can I say one quick thing?
Yeah, we got about a minute and a half.
I'll be real quick. Hey, right. Very honored to have my Heisman Trophy vote. This year goes to Seth Russell. Next year, don't be surprised if I vote for Dennis Briggs. And there you go, Elevator Taco.
Smoking Jim, I don't know if you can even say stuff like that.
They're going to take that vote away.
Did you read the rules?
Yep, that vote's going to get
you know what? Strike that. Take that off there. I hate to see him lose his vote. Hey, one thing I wanted to announce. Hey, Smoking Jim, Roger Houston contacted me by email that they have this owners thing they try to promote. They give people a chance to buy a horse for $350. He was going to give it to me because, being on the show. Well, I can't because under the rules, I owned a horse. So he asked Smoking Jim if he could be a part owner of a horse. So I got to get the details tomorrow. So stay tuned.
Very honored.
And any proceeds from Smoking Jim and the horse will be donated.
How does that play out? How does that work?
Roger Houston's in charge, and that's what happened.
Thank you.
I can't believe it, too. I thought I would have been in a run.
You need to come up with a slick name for that horse.
No, the horse will already be named. You can't, once they're 2 years old and they race.
Black Beauty?
Well, because of your racist attitudes, you're not going to last long.
He ain't going to make it in Washington County. The Whiskey Rebellion will be quick.
Thanks, everybody. It was a great show. You got Zach. You got... Smoking Jim, not going to be on the show long. Chip, Profit Hainer. I'm Al Levine. Be safe and stay Joey strong.